All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College EWD 1000 Web Development Technologies class, I've been creating a series of video presentations that are based on the Mozilla Developer Network, or MDN, Learn Web Development series. All right, it's a several multi-part series, and so far I've gone through the beginning part and the HTML, and I'm in the middle of the CSS portion. I'm under the CSS building blocks and I'm looking at debugging CSS. In the last lecture, I went through the beginning of this and I went through the article on what are browser developer tools and the DOM versus view source. But now let's talk about this inspecting the applied CSS. So it says select an element on your page either by right-clicking on it or by selecting inspect and selecting it from the HTML tree in the DevTools display. Well, let's come in here because that's what they've been talking about. So I'm going to right mouse click on this and I'm going to choose inspect. And it's showing me that I am currently inside of my picture. All right. It shows me the size. It shows me the box model properties, etc. It shows that it's an image that's display block and it's centered on the page because it's got 0 auto. All right, if I grab something else, so if I go down further, and I'm going to go and right mouse click on here and choose inspect, it should change because now I'm in the middle of my list. So you can see that in here. It says if you look at the rules view to the right of your HTML, you should be able to see the CSS properties, and that's what I showed you, and the values applied to that particular element. There's more if you want to go into this video here. All right. Really excellent place to start, if your stuff isn't working. All right. Editing values. In addition to turning properties on and off, you can edit their values. Perhaps you want to see if another color looks better. Okay. So they say there with box 1 selected, click on the swatch, the small color circle that shows the color applied to the border. Well, they want you to actually come in, and now we're supposed to be looking at this other one in here. I've got that one up as well. So let's bring up, that's this one. Okay. I'm going to right mouse click on here and choose inspect. And there we are. All right. So when you look in here, notice we've got color and it says 333 right there. All right. So what we're told we can do here, it says with box 1 selected, click on the swatch, which is the small colored circle that shows the color applied to the border. There's the circle. I'm going to click on it. There's the swatch. All right. I'm going to change this and let's make it something that would really show, or hopefully show. All right. There's yellow. All right. And, well, it doesn't look like it did anything, so let's just keep going. This will update real time on the page. Perhaps you want to see if another color looks better. With box 1 selected, click on the swatch. We did that. Color picker will come up and you can try out some of the different colors. This will update in real time on the page. All right, so it looks like it did there at least. So let's double check and make sure, or see if it does for us. So I clicked on here and you see what it is set to right now. Changed it to blue. All right. Now, notice the color that's on here changed from And what I'm actually changing and appears in here is the paragraph. Since I made it FFF, it's white on a white background, so it doesn't show. But if I come through here and let's make it green. So we'll make it 00 FF00. And you'll notice that indeed it's green. Now I'm working with a copy here. I'm not changing the real thing itself. But I can go in here and change this if I'm so inclined. All right. I don't know if it'll allow me to do this. Let's see. Notice I changed it from 1.2M to 2.2M. So you can make changes, but again, you can make changes and view what's happening in here, but that is only changing a copy. So if you wanted to permanently change it, I would have to copy this or whatever, go back to the original source, because this is not the source. This is a copy of what I'm working with. All right, adding a new property. It says you can also add a new property in here if you want to do that. All right, and how do you do that? Well, you come into where the curly brace is, and you can add something new. So let's see. So we've got all this. Notice there's a bunch of stuff that's set right here. For instance, font style is set to normal. All right, I should be able to come in here. Let's try it. So font, weight, bold, and it's immediately bolded. All right. Again, these aren't really gee whiz kind of things, but the idea is that you can come in here and you can maneuver and manipulate what is in here, adding to it, changing it, etc. I mentioned this to you earlier, and that is that this is a great way to learn more about the box model. All right. It says compare the two boxes, box 1 and box 2. They both have the same width applied, but box 1 is visually wider. It says you can see in the layout panel that it is using content box, all right, which allows it to expand. Well, let's see if indeed that's true. So here's the first box. There's box 1, and it shows everything that's in there. Notice the box sizing is content box. If I go to the second one and I click with the second one here, and I click on the second box, you'll notice that its box sizing is border box, whereas the first one again was content box. All right, and you'll notice how this one has expanded and this one has not. All right, I shouldn't even say that. This one is basically the second one has expanded. It's gotten bigger to hold the content that we have in there. And let's see. Okay, the last thing it says in here is zucchini, right? So that's in here somewhere. So that's inside of box 2 in the paragraph. I mean, can I come in here and actually add stuff? All right. Did I add anything? Sure looks like it to me. All right. So that's the idea behind this. Now, what we're looking at right now is how to edit certain things. But what we're not looking at is what to do if you have a problem. But you can actually go in and change settings that are in there. You've already seen this, or remove things. So if for some reason you're expecting something to be bolded and it's not, you can go in, highlight that element, bring it up in the inspector and take a look at it and see if its font weight has been set to bold, for example. All right, debugging problems. Let's just check on that. All right, we're at 10 minutes. We should be able to finish this. It says, take a look at the main DevTools section, and that's on Firefox DevTools. All right. But let's take a look at the debugging itself. You'll notice the first thing here says, take a step back from a problem. There are many times that I have advised students, and I'll tell them, something's not working. I've been looking at this for a half an hour. I can't figure it out. Walk away for a few minutes. Go to the bathroom. Go downstairs and get something from the lounge. Or if you're at home, put it away for a while. Sometimes you have to put it away for, the best thing you can do is stop working on it if you're at home and then start on it the next day. All right. But let's say you've done that. You're still having problems. Do you have valid HTML and CSS? Well, not only is there an HTML validator, we've already gone out to this one, but there is another validator. And notice the HTML validator is at validator.w3.org. All right. And there's a CSS validator as well. And that is at jigsaw.w3.org/CSS validator. Who cares? Well, what I want to do is I want to show you this. I'm going to go back to what we had been working on in here before. And I'm just going to grab all of this CSS. I'm not going to grab the style tags, but I'm going to grab everything else that we put in here. All right, I'm going to jump into here. I'm going to go just like we did before. I'm going to paste this in, and I'm going to click on check. And you'll see, congratulations, no errors found. You even get this little thing here. The point is it didn't find any errors. But if I jump back up again, so let's go back into here, and we're just going to grab something randomly. All right, so here on T-body, I'm misspelling body on purpose right there. And I'm going to click check. Well, notice it still thinks that it's valid. Now, that could be for a couple reasons. Let's come in here and refresh the page. Paste this in again. Let's leave off the word caption. How's that? All right. And I'm going to click check. And notice, sorry, we found a lot of errors. Now, that generated quite a few errors. So let's go back in and let's put the word caption back in there. But let's spell it incorrectly. And again, we get a lot of errors. All right, and it says parser error, and it's got caption here, but I didn't spell it correctly. So if I come back in here, put it in like this, and check, still doesn't like something. Let's do this. Let's refresh. Paste it back in. They should be valid now. Oh, the word caption is still not in there. Now, it doesn't like something. I'm not going to worry about it. It was valid before. So in other words, if I come back to where I was, highlight all of it, copy it to the clipboard, come back in here, paste in what should be valid, you'll notice that now it is. The bottom line is this. All right, the bottom line is this, and that is when something is not working, sometimes the best thing in the world you can do is just run the validator and see if maybe there's something simple that you just looked right through. All right, is the property value supported by the browser you are testing? Well, one nice thing in here that's not even mentioned right here, and that is you can come in and you can use the can I use. And you can check to see if something is indeed, all right, supported or not supported. Is something else overriding your CSS? Well, we've talked about this. Remember that there's a pecking order to this. So in other words, there's the default browser options, There's anything you put in externally, then becomes your internal, then will come your inline. All right, and even with that stuff, you will do first, your IDs will override your classes, for example. All right, so you've done all that. It's still not working. So make a reduced test case set of your problem. So in other words, if you know it's just a certain part that's not working, maybe just, grab a paragraph if it's verbiage, or grab an image if it's the image, and create a new page. All right, and just add that, and just add the CSS for that particular thing to see if it works. Says if you remove your JavaScript, does not make the issue go away. All right, if removing it does not make the issue go away, don't include the JavaScript because the problem is somewhere else. What you're trying to do is go through everything to figure out what the problem is. All right, so you're removing things piecemeal, and hopefully then you will find it. That's pretty much it. All right, and as we finish up here, the last part of this section will be in organizing our CSS, talk about keeping it tidy, etc., and I'll be back with that in just a moment.